So probably everyone who got involved in the world of stock market knows about the story with GameStop. This January, members of a Reddit forum called Wall Street Bets pumped the price of a company called GameStop. The price of the stock went up almost 800% in a few days. But just a few days later, the stock crashed back very fast. And today, the stock price is back up again. So is it a good idea to invest in these stocks, and does the same thing will happen with AMC? First of all, I think most of these stock buyers are not investors but gamblers. They probably don't analyze the fundamentals of these companies. They put money in these stocks as they would put money on the roulette table. If I take a look at the revenue of GameStop, it is going down for the past 10 years. I think that's the most important aspect of any investment. This is usually the very first thing I take a look at before anything else. How much money the company generates, and is it growing or declining? Is it possible that GameStop will grow its revenue again? Sure, anything is possible, but would you bet on it? Because I wouldn't. Because there are many companies with growing revenue, so why would I choose a company that has a declining revenue for the past 10 years? Interestingly, GameStop is a dividend-paying company, or should I say was a dividend-paying company. They paid dividends until last year. And this is what I tell in many of my videos. The dividend and the dividend yield alone don't tell you anything. I mean, sometimes it does tell you something. If we take a look at the dividend history of GameStop, we can see that they were raising the dividend from 2012 and then the dividend went to zero. So if you had bought this dividend paying stock, it doesn't matter what was your original dividend yield because 1 year later it went to zero. Let me tell you why I didn't buy the stock back then. And this is a very important lesson because this is exactly how you can avoid a dividend cut in your portfolio. Let's take a look at the dividend yield history of GameStop. In 2019, you could buy the stock with a 47% dividend yield. That's amazing, right? No, it's not. If I only take a look at the dividend yield, I immediately know that I don't want to invest in this stock because a 47% dividend yield is a too good to be true category. Remember that a high dividend yield does not mean that you are the only investor on the planet who found this stock. All other investors know this stock and they don't want to buy it. So you have to ask the question from yourself, why is it that all those investors don't want to buy this stock? So I don't even have to look at any other fundamentals because this high dividend yield already tells me that something is wrong with this company. If I see a regular dividend yield, something like a 3 or 4%, then sure, I take a look at other fundamentals, because a regular dividend yield doesn't mean that it's a good investment. But if the dividend yield is this high, I already know that it's a high-risk investment. So people who started to buy the stock of GameStop this January are not investors, they are gambling. And obviously, we know that this was a short squeeze. Many big investors shorted the stock, which is, by the way, another sign that something is wrong with the company. And those Reddit members wanted to push out these short sellers. So of course there were some people who made money with GameStop, but it's important to know that many other people lost a lot of money with it, because this is a typical example of the game of musical chairs. Now, what about AMC? If we only look at the price chart, we can see that the price went up 250% only in the past 5 days. And if you take a look at the fundamentals, it's almost the same story as with GameStop. The revenue went down last year a lot. And AMC was also a dividend-paying company, but it stopped paying dividends last year. And the dividend yield was extremely high before that. You could buy the stock with a very high dividend yield last year, but now it's 0%. So I think it's important to know that what these people do is not investing. This is pure speculation, pure gambling. I'm not against it, but people need to know the difference. And we know that many people already lost a lot of money with these speculative bubbles. So we already know that it's not the fundamentals that is fueling the price of this stock, but pure speculation. And as with any other speculative bubble, you can expect to happen the same with the stock of AMC, which means you can be sure that this high price will not last for long. But you will never know when will the bubble burst. So you might buy the stock today and the price might drop tomorrow or the next week. So keep that in mind before you think about putting any money in this stock.